What do you do when you host a sprint car race, but only a few cars show up? We'll talk about it today, as that's exactly what happened on Sunday at the Terre Haute Action Track. We've also got news from Bloomington Speedway, USAC, and more. Let's go. It's Monday, September 16th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. Imagine a world where your Kubota equipment just runs like clockwork, where breakdowns are a distant memory and you're free to focus on what matters most, getting the job done. Introducing Orange Protection, the ultimate service program designed to keep your equipment performing at its best. With Orange Protection, you'll enjoy priority service scheduling, extended warranty coverage, and access to a network of certified Kubota technicians who know your equipment inside and out. But that's not all. You'll also receive regular maintenance checks to prevent breakdowns, extended hours of operation, and loaner equipment availability because they know downtime is costly. Don't let maintenance get in the way of progress. Choose Orange Protection for your Kubota equipment and take control of your operations. Contact your local Kubota dealer today to learn more. Kubota, built for the tough stuff. And with Orange Protection, you're unstoppable. Big thanks to Kubota for their ongoing support of The Daily Show. So my question for you at the top of the show today is, how many sprint cars is enough to run a race night program? And I ask because of a situation that played out on Sunday at the Terre Haute Action Track. The first-year Maverick Wing Sprint Series was supposed to be racing there along with modifieds, but right before 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the show was canceled, with the series citing lack of participants. And before we go further, a little background for you. Maverick started up this season trying to get a regular winged 410 sprint car series going in Indiana. It's a common thread you hear. Why aren't there more winged races in Indiana with all of the different racetracks? High Limit had 2 stops in the state in 2024, Kokomo and Lawrenceburg, and the Outlaws had just 1 at Hopstop. So in between other regional series like Fast and MOA and PowerEye, Maverick scheduled 13 410 sprint car races this season, with stops at Bloomington, Terre Haute, Lincoln Park, Hopstop, and Red Hill. Obviously Red Hill, I know that's not in Indiana, but it's on the schedule. Races are $5,000 to win and $500 to start. And it's my understanding that this series is a collaboration of some sort between Kevin Newton and the Spikers. Before yesterday, of the 11 scheduled races, they'd completed 8 of them with some early spring rainouts, and then they canceled Bloomington in August because of heat. Jacob Allen has 2 wins with the series, as does Tyler Courtney, and Emerson Axum, Todd Moole, Joby Miller, and Darren Nida all have 1 victory apiece. Along the way, car counts have been really respectable, especially during the joint IRA Speed Week, where they peaked at 55, and I think the least they had over those 4 shows was 37. The last race for Maverick at Lincoln Park in August, where Nida won, they had 26. And their lowest car count of the season is 17. That's happened twice. So jumping back to Terre Haute yesterday, here's what I know. They canceled because of lack of participants, and my race pass showed 3 signed in at the time of the decision. They were series points leader Sterling Kling, plus Jeff Dodge and Jet Man. I was told there were 6 cars in the pits and more were coming. Beyond the 3 that were signed in, we know that Justin Peck was there with Michael Dutcher's 7GP. That was obviously after Peck ran on Saturday night with High Limit at Lernerville. And I've been able to confirm kind of through various sources, social media, and having some conversations that Bryce Norris, Joel Myers Jr., and Carson Dillon were planning on racing. I also know that Ayrton Jeniton was on his way. He was 30 minutes from the track when they canceled. And I'm also assuming Kevin Newton was going to race. That takes us up to 9. From there, I don't know who else would have been possible or likely, but there may have been a few others, potentially taking the event to maybe 11 or 12 sprint cars. Even at 9, though, that wouldn't have been the lowest attended series race this season, as I know that PowerEye ran their 410 series at I-70 way back in May with just 8 cars. They had Jeniton, Blake Hahn, Noah Gass, Roger Crockett, Jack Wagner, Will Armitage, Samuel Wagner, and Xavier Doney, and ran qualifying, a heat race, and a 20-lap feature. Jeniton won that one. That's obviously an excrement sandwich, but kudos to PowerEye and I-70 for still running the race and paying the purse. And there may be other races that had fewer cars, but I didn't dig all that deep. I was told that the teams that did make the trip were given at least some tow money, but obviously a day like yesterday, not good for anybody involved. And that includes the series, who's likely going to take a hit with both the fans and the competitors going forward. It sucks for the teams that spent money to show up and then not race, and for those fans that did the same, made plans, headed to the track, and then got nothing. And this is going to have repercussions into the future, because if you see a race like this on the schedule, are you going to want to do this? Because potentially this is a risk now. So back to my original question, how many cars is enough to run a race? It feels to me like the series and track were likely headed for a loss yesterday, so that obviously sucks. And should we, as fans, expect them to do that and take it in the shorts? But you would also hope that the teams in the area would support the series, especially with like a series like MOA rained out on Saturday at Highland. But you can't also blame them for maybe wanting to take a Sunday off. And I've seen the criticisms about promotion and recruiting teams, and there's probably some truth to all of that. I really like the idea of Maverick, and I do think there's a place for it geographically and in between all of the other regional stuff. But this is a blemish that's going to sting, and I think for a while. The series is set to close out this first season October 4th at Lincoln Park. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think about this. In a not completely unrelated bit of news, it looks like the future of Bloomington Speedway has been secured with an announcement in recent days about a new operating group. An entity called Speedway Partners LLC has entered into a 5-year lease agreement to promote the Indiana racetrack starting in 2025. This 2024 season was the 101st year of racing at the facility, so good to see that that tradition will continue. A brief release about the news said that details about the management team and plans for next year will be released soon. Bloomington's season actually wrapped up about a couple of weeks ago. Another news item from recent days that I wanted to mention involves the BC39 week at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That is obviously a USAC midget event, but new this season there will be USAC sprint cars on track during that event as well. On Thursday, the 26th, they're going to run a non-points invitation-only show for the sprint cars featuring 2 heats and a 20-lap main event. The top 10 teams in USAC points were invited, with confirmed entries so far from Logan Seavey, Dazen Pursley, CJ Leary, Kevin Thomas Jr., Mitchell Moles, Robert Ballou, Kyle Cummins, Carson Garrett, and Cale Drake. If I remember correctly, I believe there have actually been sprint car laps at the track before in a test session at some point, but this will be the first actual racing on the quarter-mile track that sits inside Turn 3 at Indy. You have to wonder if maybe this is something they're looking at for the future, if they're going to bring in 10 cars, maybe see how it goes, and then maybe expand that for the future. We'll just have to wait and see. The 3-day BC39 culminates in a 20,000 win feature on Saturday night, and at last check, there are 32 midgets pre-entered. All of the usual suspects are represented on that list. We'll talk more BC39 next week. Looking around the country for the rest of this week, it's pretty quiet in terms of racing action, kind of until we get closer to the weekend. That's why the streaming schedule, it's kind of empty today, just Flow Racing 24/7 on it. There will be a few other scattered things kind of through the week, so make sure to stop by DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight to see your options. We'll call it good for there today. Hope you guys have a great Monday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.